Merry Meet, Annie here. Welcome back to my venture forth into being with you throughout the entire wheel of the year and making regular posts. This one on the dark moon after Mabon. But I wanted to start it by mentioning my friend behind me. I got several emails from folks asking more about her. So I'm going to insert a picture here. She is residing in the cabinet, which is my altar space. I picked her up at a thrift market for just a few bucks. I think she's meant to be Mary Magdalene. I had reasons for thinking that's who she was because of the kinds of things that surrounded her in that shop. She could be Mary, the other Mary also. But she's Mary Magdalene to me because Mary Magdalene is a powerful inspiration to me and part of my practice. She pops up every now and then as who she was as Magdalene. That word means priestess. And who she was and the way she worked with and taught and partnered with Jesus. So she's actually someone I spend a lot of time with. So whether this is the other Mary or Mary Magdalene, she's Mary Magdalene to me as the grieving goddess. And she shows up on my altar somewhere around Lammas, and she stays there until Samhain. Those of you who are curious, now I can share a little bit more of that with you. I am following a script on this particular video. Sometimes there'll be a script. Sometimes I make a script of the video after I do it. Sometimes I'm talking off my top of my head. Other times it's a blog that I'm actually turning into a recording. So this one does have a bit of a script to it, so bear with me for that. There's something special about dark moons in the season of water. I admit to having a bit of a love affair with them. When I wrote during the season of Lammas, I challenged those who read my blog to name the moons, including the dark moons. We tend to isolate the dark moons, and perhaps we avoid celebrating them. They might not be part of our practice at all. Maybe we weren't quite sure what to do with them. But they are an integral part of the exploration of the tides of the seasons, of ourselves, and our becomings. The next several dark moons, the dark moons in the season of water, are especially deserving of naming. The first one, after Lammas, was our first tender touching on the mystery of the darkness that will continue to grow through the seasons of Mabon and Samhain. The full moons that arrive after Mabon remind us of the balancing of the wheel, of the balancing of dark and light in our days, in the lunar tides and the solar wheel. Each one beautiful, seemingly opposite in their aspects of dark and light. The moons in Mabon are perfect opportunities to appreciate what of each of them is in the other, both full and dark. In this dark moon, I suggest a time of vigil in your relationship to the night sky. Be with the moon at this time of its complete darkness. Explore what exists that you cannot see, for the moon is as present as she always is, even if we experience her as invisible in the time of the dark moon. Journey into places where you have absolute certainty of the power and importance of certain things in your life. In the dark, you might feel them rather than give words to them. It is, after all, the season of water. Pay attention to each night's sky until you can see the first sliver of the new moon. Perhaps then you can settle into your feelings and capture them as words, not just the feelings you had in the dark. My suggestion, at the dark moon, be still in your honoring of her. Consider the things which are solid and true and enduring in your life. Warning, this is not usually a long list. Capture what you feel in regards to that in single, individual words. And then pay attention to the first light of the new moon within a few days after reflections at the dark moon. Take up that list again, those individual words. Revisit the feeling you had when you captured each word and write a sentence that further defines each of those words. Those sentences are your relationship to the increasing moon, which captured something more primal, instinctual, and emotional. As she shines, that little bit of increasing light, expand those feelings that you had at the dark moon into descriptions of the feelings. Be with the mystery of what you know is truth in the dark moon. And then within a few days after, dare to explore that a little bit farther by widening it through the sentences you use to describe it. Be with the illumination of those truths and how to live them into the new moon. Oh, and what would you name this dark moon? That name might rise from the work you do as dark moon becomes new moon. I wish you all blessings of the dark moon and mirth and reverence, of course. Merry part.